his heifer to
sponsor. Sponsor, yeah.
Not sponsor.
Yeah, he is.
What do I refer to him as? Supporter. Very strong supporter. Johnston Muthama not seeing eye to eye. We'll be discussing that in a short while as well. But now let's start with the U.S. presidential election. And of course, Donald Trump won the elections last week. And remember the last time we had this panel was on election day, on Tuesday. And the predictions, although you are not here, I know you also supported Hillary Clinton.
No, I always said I was ambivalent. I think that was the word I used.
How did we, and you get it so wrong? And what is your reaction to this, to Donald Trump's win? Briefly, before we move on to other matters. Bwana Njogu Barua.
Thank you. First and foremost, I think it's always good to congratulate the winner, because Donald is actually the president-elect for the United States of America. And what I can see is that we all got it wrong, but you could see there are several dynamics which forced the change, like the assertion that Hillary will be charged while in office. That's one of the issues that pushed the election the other way around. Then the most important, in my own opinion, was that we had an underground movement which really was not saying what was in their heart. And this is from the extremists, who actually even evaded the opinion polls. So the opinion polls that we saw, that we believed in, were actually excluding a very big section of the American community. So it is an undercurrent, is an expression by the Americans that they needed change. And I think from the outcome, Hillary is not the change they required. But when this one happened, we are seeing street demonstrations in America. But what is important in my own view is that the street demonstrations, the demonstrators are not destroying property, and they still care for the nation, which is different from what happened in 2007 in Kenya, when the elections were disputed and there was an opportunity to go to court. The demonstration turned to be ethnic, they turned to be destructive, and also people killed each other.
Yes.
So that's a lesson for 2017, that we cannot dispute, we cannot express our anger of in dispute by destroying our nation.
Oh yes, of course, very interesting pictures on page 3 of the Daily Nation of the anti-Trump protests that continue in the U.S. Something else that's very interesting is the president-elect Donald Trump has decided to forego his $400,000 annual salary, and he says he'll be earning, like, according to the headline on the Taifa Leo, 8 shillings a month.
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the President-elect of the United States, Donald Trump. And maybe before I comment on the issue of the salary, you realize that Donald Trump is a guy who understood the needs of the people, something we call value proposition. When you go to the United States right now, you find that there are a lot of cases of unemployment, particularly to the natives themselves. And he understood the value proposition, and that's why he focused on. The unfortunate thing about Hillary, whom I had supported, and last time I was in Boston, actually about 2-3 weeks or so to the elections, the mood was Hillary, Hillary, Hillary. I think Hillary suffered from something called, he was a bit complacent, so to say. He saw that this is for me, I'm not going, I don't think Trump will go anywhere, but Trump is a person who was consistent, was persistent. He didn't give up, and he continued. I think he was getting the feedback and was trying to correct, and he tried to punch the message, particularly the Americans. Hillary didn't do a proper that market segmentation, because when you look at the way they voted, you realize that the locals, the whites, contribute almost 70%. So this guy just focused on these whites, and he delivered the value proposition in terms of the message of making America great. Right now, when you look at America, as per the natives, it's no longer great the way it was. The cases of unemployment. Why is America getting involved in some some disputes outside. They want to focus on themselves. And that's why when you look at the locals, the message of removing immigrants, it was something that went on very well with the locals. The issues of employment, attacking Mexico, it went down very well with these people. So Trump is somebody who really looked at the value proposition of the majority of the votes, and he entered in, the message he gave was a message that was going to add value to them. But for Hillary, again, with the FBI, contributed it was a very big factor, that the issue of introducing the criminal cases, because people were like, we get a president who is going to be charged, you know, it contributed so much for the downfall of Hillary. Hillary, there was a lot of complacence. She assumed everything. But as a matter of fact, she won all the debates. But the issue here was not about the debates. It was the issue of looking at the critical issues. The shoe knows where it pinches. And that's why it came like this. And now, these Americans, to make it great, they wanted some change. Hillary was presenting something status quo. It was an extension of the husband's legacy and Obamacare, the issue of Obama. But now, under the regime of these people, you find that the natives are not actually very comfortable. And that's why the change could only be seen in a Trump. Somebody who could speak his mind, not an issue of policing. And I think that was very appealing. And to me as a Catholic, what I like about Trump is in terms of the family values. You know, Republicans are very critical when it comes to their pro-life. And you see, Democrats are not very when it comes to pro-life, like the issue of gayism and all that. And now Republicans came in clearly on the issue of pro-life and tightening those anti-abortion laws, which I think which was very appealing as far as the matter is concerned.
But Barack Muluka, sorry, because I want you to comment on Barack Obama. After the confusion. Even as you comment on Donald Trump's win, of course, there's a headline on page 2 of the Daily Nation: options galore for Obama in his retirement life. He's fairly young. He's a fairly young gentleman, so he still has a lot more years and he still has a strength. What's next for him? Does he just retire as the other presidents did and sit back at home, write a book? What exactly?
Well, maybe before we get there, to just pick up where my colleagues have left it off. And I've said very clearly that I was ambivalent. I recognize that this is an American election. I recognize that it could have social ramifications on the international circuit, including here. But I also recognize that other people have got their own countries, their own governments, their own political affairs, their own economic affairs, which they must manage well, and not kind of take glory and other allied passions in other people's elections. I'm hearing continuously about change, about value proposition, and I don't understand what we are talking about. Barack Obama took over almost 8 years ago, at a time when the American economy was in a free fall. That the Bush administration, after 2 terms, had completely messed up that economy. People were losing their homes, motor vehicle manufacturers were closing up, other enterprises were closing up, and Barack Obama came as a beacon of hope, and he restored hope. So when people start talking about that Trump is the one who is going to bring change, I don't understand. What I understand is that Donald Trump understands the psyche of the average white American. And the average white American is somebody who is xenophobic, is somebody who is scared stiff about foreigners, about blacks, about Latinos, about Muslims, about Arabs. And it has been proven time and again that where demagogues will find passions that are vile, if they can find something negative to say about other people, if they can raise up people's fears, if they can appeal to people's emotions and faculty of hate, then they are likely to be going to win an election. It happened in 1930 in Germany with Adolf Hitler, with the Socialist Party. In 1933, they made him the Chancellor of Germany. It happened in 1936 with Benito Mussolini. in Italy. It happened, well, Hirohito was in a hereditary environment in Japan in 1926 when he took over from his father. But we see that these were people who are appealing to vile, raw emotions. And those who support those emotions will latently keep quiet. When the critical moment comes, they come out and do the needful. In 1980, we saw Ronald Reagan playing the same card. He was talking about Jimmy Carter as a failure, somebody who had taken away the prestige, the American prestige. Never mind that the roots of all that go back or went back to the war in Vietnam, 1963 to 1973, and that America was paying the price of going to attack people in a war that they needed not to have fought. So I see this American revivalism and the coming on the stage of Donald Trump within that context of revivalism. What happens on the global stage, I don't know. Barack Obama is going to have his assignments cut out for him. Already he's on the way to Europe. I think he's going to Greece, and he started by assuring the international community about the Trump prospective presidency that is going to honor his country's international obligations. But most likely he's just going to go around the world giving lectures, making money.
Like Bill Clinton.
And, yes, like Bill Clinton.
Because Jimmy Carter ventured into peace campaigns, launching the Carter Center after his one-term presidency. Bill Clinton went on to earn millions of dollars from public speaking. Ronald Reagan spent his retirement nursing his ailments.
David Milo has just released a brand new book which is titled An Open Letter to the White House, and he's cheekily asking the White House to lend Obama to Africa.
Can you get us off the situation?
Yeah. Do you agree that probably the best thing for Obama would be to travel around the world and on speaking engagements?
Yeah, Obama leaves some legacy and the philosophy that the world wants to associate with. Remember, he was the favorite, and as he had clearly put it before Trump coming in, actually it was the world against Trump. So to me, he's somebody who will move around, give lectures here and there, or he can advance even his academic career. I know he can be a very good professor when it comes to School of Law. So he has a lot. He's still young. He's still very, very energetic, and there's so much in store for him.
Yes, definitely. One person we want to see come to Kenya and give a speech or a lecture on something.
I think from the priorities we expect in a Donald Trump presidency. In fact, he has to, from the way he talked in the campaigns, he is against Muslims, against immigrants, talked about Mexicans and so forth. So what is happening is that we may see a President Trump start with profiling Americans and even non-Americans, and I'm sure there's a big section of the community, given the extremist nature of Donald Trump, which is going to either to ignore or to punish. So from that component of the population, both within and outside America, there will be a lot for Barack Obama to do, to advocate for their case through lectures and other initiatives, and also filling the gap that Donald Trump is going to leave. He was definitely going to be an extreme in his presidency. There will be a gap in his presidency, because he's going to start by victimizing. He starts by victimizing people. So Obama has got a clear-cut constituency, which is not going to be a priority for Trump, and I think that's a good thing of him being energetic and young.
Of course. Now we need to take a short break so that we can internalize what we've just been discussing, and when we return, we want to talk about the State House Summit on Land. Was it just a PR gimmick? That and a bit more when Power Breakfast returns.